Napoleon Bonaparte and Alexander the Great. Two military geniuses, one immortal legacy. The history of humanity is written with the ink of the ambitions and deeds of exceptional leaders. When we think of commanders who not only won battles but also rewrote the geography of the known world, two names emerge as giants: Alexander the Great and Napoleon Bonaparte. One, the young Macedonian king who conquered the world in a flash; the other, the Corsican who, with cunning and strategy, crowned himself emperor and dominated Europe. Though separated by nearly 2 millennia, both shared an unparalleled military audacity, strategic vision, and a hypnotic ability to inspire unyielding loyalty in their armies. This detailed comparison will examine their leadership styles, their battle tactics, their political visions, and the cultural and military impact each one left, maintaining the flow of the text without tabular interruptions. Alexander the Great, the conqueror of the known world, the vision of expansion. Alexander III of Macedon, known as Alexander the Great, ascended the throne in 336 BCE and, in less than 13 years, transformed a regional kingdom into an empire that stretched from Greece to India. His military career was a succession of spectacular victories, many of them achieved against armies that significantly outnumbered his own, establishing his reign of only 13 years of glory. The core of Alexander's strategy was based on speed, surprise, and the decisive charge. He was a leader who fought at the vanguard, a risky decision that, nevertheless, cemented his reputation for near-divine courage among his men, reinforcing morale and unconditional loyalty. His main tactical tool was the formidable Macedonian phalanx, an impenetrable infantry formation armed with long spears, sarissas, crucially supplemented by the elite cavalry known as the companions, hetairoi, whom he personally led with ferocity. Battles like Gaugamela or Issus not only demonstrated his genius for maneuvering and outflanking a numerically superior enemy, such as the vast army of Darius III, but also his brilliance in identifying and striking the weak point of the opposing command. Alexander sought not just victory, but the strategic annihilation of the enemy, dismantling their command structure and capacity for resistance. Alexander's legacy is deeply cultural and defined by the Hellenistic era. Unlike many conquerors who only sowed destruction, Alexander founded dozens of cities, the most famous being Alexandria in Egypt, that became vibrant centers of Greek culture. His policy of cultural fusion was revolutionary, as he actively encouraged his soldiers to marry Persian women, an event known as the Weddings of Susa, seeking to create a new Greco-Oriental elite, effectively uniting East and West. Although he died young, at the age of 32, and his empire quickly fragmented among his generals, the Diadochi, the seed of Greek culture he planted, bore fruit for centuries, influencing the art, science, and philosophy of the entire Mediterranean and Asia. His dominion was, in essence, an expansive and brief conquest that left the dissemination of Hellenicity as its heritage. Napoleon Bonaparte, the architect of the modern state, the strategy of efficiency. Napoleon Bonaparte emerged from the turbulent chaos of the French Revolution to dominate Europe from 1799 to 1815. Unlike Alexander, he did not inherit a royal throne. He forged and crowned himself emperor through an unparalleled military and political talent that took him from a simple artillery officer to the master of a continent. His dominance lasted 16 years, ending only with his defeat and final exile to St. Helena. Napoleon's genius did not lie in the frontal charge, but in his mastery of logistics and the war of movement. He was the innovator who developed the concept of the corps d'armée, self-sufficient and well-coordinated units capable of marching rapidly and operating separately, which allowed him to conceal the army's true intention until the last moment before concentrating with devastating speed on the battlefield for the decisive action. His most famous strategy was the central maneuver, a method for dividing and then destroying enemy forces separately. Iconic battles like Austerlitz, the Battle of the Three Emperors, or Jena Auerstedt are still studied today in military academies for their speed, tactical deception, and focus on striking the decisive rear or flanks. Napoleon was a master of psychological motivation. Through his famous army bulletins and his promotion based strictly on meritocracy, he created an army that fought with patriotic fervor and for personal glory, something innovative for his time. Napoleon's legacy is not only military, it is profoundly administrative and legal, focusing on the consolidation of political power and reform. The Napoleonic Code, French Civil Code, is his most enduring contribution, as it consolidated the legal ideals of the revolution, such as equality before the law and the abolition of feudal privileges, and spread to much of Europe and the world, forming the basis of modern law in many countries. Despite his incessant wars, he modernized public administration, the education system, with the creation of lycées and banking in France. His ambition, although it ended in defeat, solidified the ideas of the Enlightenment and laid the groundwork for the modern concept of the nation-state. The competitive bond and the difference in destiny. Although separated by history, both leaders shared an insatiable appetite for glory and an unwavering faith in their own destiny. Both were intense self-taught masters of the art of war. Napoleon devoured military and classical literature, being a great admirer of Alexander himself and emulating his deeds by traveling to Egypt. Both were known for their speed of decision and audacious movement, outpacing more cautious opponents. For both, audacity was invariably the surest path to victory. Furthermore, both managed to create a personal myth. Alexander presented himself as a demigod, son of Zeus Ammon. Napoleon presented himself as the savior and guarantor of post-revolutionary stability. The key distinction, however, lies in their goals and timing. Alexander was driven by conquest, exploration, and the blending of cultures, and his dominion ended abruptly with an early death. Napoleon, on the other hand, focused on political power and administrative reform. His ambition was the consolidation of an empire centralized on law and modernity, and his end came through prolonged military defeat. Alexander left a Hellenized world, Napoleon, the blueprint for modern law and the nation-state. Both faced challenges that would have paralyzed lesser leaders, and both, in their own way, demonstrated that a single individual, armed with intelligence and indomitable will, can change the course of history. They are the two emperors who, beyond their earthly empires, continue to reign in the annals of military strategy and leadership. If you liked this comparison, don't forget to support the channel. Likes, comments, and subscribing power the continuation of content like this. Which leaders or figures do you think we should compare in the next video?